We are back now with more of our conversation with Governor Ned Lamont. Governor, thank you for staying with us here. And I want to start with this. As you look back over this past year, is there a person or an event, one thing that you think stands out? I know it's been a crazy year to be the chief executive of Connecticut, to say the least, but what's one thing you'll think back on over this past year?
The state really came together. I couldn't do all this by fiat. I couldn't order you to do this. I couldn't order everything to shut down. I can't order you to wear a mask. I mean, I can try, but it doesn't work unless people step up and do it on their own and realize it's the right thing to do for them and their family and their community. And Connecticut did that. And we did that early on. We did that more than most other states. And thankfully, we had a much lower infection rate that kept more of our people safer. Look, we were hit hard during those first few months. Nobody's denying that. But I think we were covered well, thanks to the people of Connecticut.
Well, you could ask people to wear a mask. And in fact, you did on many occasions, one of those occasions being April 15th.
I think it's time for us to also be really strict about the need to wear masks.
You did put in that mask mandate in the state of Connecticut, Governor. Was that a difficult decision? Obviously, our thinking, many of us, it did evolve over time about wearing masks. Did it for you? And was that a tough call?
No, I got to tell you, for me, it was just public health. And every single smart person I talked to said the best thing you can do for your family is to wear the mask. Best thing you can do for your community is to wear the mask. All I meant to say is, look, I can say, here's an executive order, you got to wear the mask. But thankfully, in Connecticut, 90% of the people did. That wasn't true in a lot of other states, and it made a difference.
Now, when you have the mask mandate in place, do you foresee a time that you'll actually go up to a microphone, to a press conference and say, I'm lifting the mask mandate, you don't have to wear masks anymore? Or will it be more gradual? Do you expect to make that announcement?
Look, I do. My instinct is, first of all, remember on April 20th, my executive orders then all have to go formally through the legislature, and they can decide I don't like masks, or I don't like masks in schools, or, so we're going to have to do some work on that. My instinct, though, Eric, is, look, we're going to be wearing the mask a little bit longer, even though more and more of our people are vaccinated. Probably in our schools a little bit longer, just because I want kids to feel confident coming back to school. Our schools are open more than just about any other state, but a lot of our kids, especially in the cities, are still reluctant to go back. And I'm going to do a better job there. And making people feel safe is a big part of that.
Well, one thing that will make people continue to feel safe is the vaccine. In December, the focus shifted from masks and other preventative measures to things like vaccines. And you were there on this day, the first dose given at Hartford Healthcare. Take a look.
I think it is literally nothing short of the equivalent of putting a human being on the moon. It's that momentous. So
do you agree with that, Governor? This is our man on the moon, a shot in the arm?
I do. I mean, it is so liberating. I'm walking around the park and people come up to me and say, I got my first shot. I feel so much better. It's a weight off my shoulders. It is working, Eric. Remember, we got everybody, we were first in the country to get all of our nursing homes vaccinated. And the complications, hospitalization, fatalities have almost disappeared there. So I'm ready. I want to go on offense against COVID, and the vaccine is our offensive weapon.
Are you still getting a lot of pushback from groups who thought they were next and then you switched to the age-based metric? And do you have a message for them this morning?
That we're leading with public health. And, for restaurants or food service folks, you came up to me and said, you've been showing up to work every day. Thank God you have. You feel a little anxious because you're going home. Maybe you live with your mother or your grandfather or something, and you don't want them to get infected. Well, thankfully, your mother or your grandfather are now vaccinated. So it gives you a lot more confidence as you go to work. And the vaccines are coming in force right now. And we're going to be able to get really everybody who wants to vaccinated, I'd like to think by end of May, early June.
Now, a lot of people anecdotally have said that they think Connecticut has done an admirable job, and a Sacred Heart University Institute for Public Policy poll found the same thing. Almost 3/4, 70% of the 1,000 Connecticut residents who responded approved of the way you've handled the pandemic. What do you make of numbers like that? And is it gratifying? Obviously, it's a grave situation, but is it gratifying to know the majority of folks in our state are with you?
To the degree to which if I give you my best opinion on how we can keep people safe, if I can't convince you it's the right thing to do and it's the right thing for the state, it's not going to work. So from that point of view, but I really give strong grades to people of Connecticut. Like I've said several times now, we've done very well at making sure public health leads, and it's making a big difference.
How tough has it been to be a politician during this time, Governor? Obviously, you came into office a year before this all started with an agenda, and this really sucked the air out of the room. I know you've been trying to focus the attention on some of the proposals in the legislature, but obviously many people, like you said, everyone wants to talk about when they're going to get that vaccine. So how tough has the politics been during this time?
Not as tough in the sense that everybody was rowing in the same direction. There'd be an occasional letter that said, you're opening this too fast or shut this down. But generally, people have been good. But what I want to make sure is now we're getting a lot of money from the federal government. I want to make sure we put that money to real purpose that's transformative. I think if nothing else during the last year, people now have a little bit more of an appreciation of what state government does, what our amazing Guard do when they set up the field hospitals, and what is the Department of Public Health and why it's so important. And I want to keep building on that momentum to do good and make sure this money coming from the feds is not wasted.
We only have about 30 seconds left, Governor. I want to leave you with this. What's the metric you'll be watching? If people at home are seeing these numbers come out, they're seeing the updates, what's something you think will be a key milestone for our state going forward that maybe can lead to full reopening or something like it?
I think, how fast we get people vaccinated, and that will also be reflected in hospitalizations. If I continue to have good capacity in our hospitals, so I know we're not going to be overwhelmed like we almost were a year ago, we can continue to cautiously reopen. I think it's going to be a pretty nice summer here in Connecticut.
And again, you do think at some point you'll be walking up to a microphone saying, we're good with masks, we're reopened, go back to your lives, everybody.
I absolutely think that. A crowded room with a bunch of people you don't know as well indoors, you'll probably be wearing the mask a little bit longer. Outside, I think we're getting back to a new normal sooner rather than later.
I know a lot of people are eager for that. Governor Ned Lamont, thank you for your time this morning. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Back at you, Eric. Thanks.
Up next, something that may happen as we return to normal: outdoor concerts. Will they be back in Connecticut this summer? Legendary concert promoter Jimmy Koplik is next in our Sunday Spotlight.